Walt Disney Parks and Resorts announced that they would be shutting down Muppet Vision 3D and replacing it with a Monsters Inc. roller coaster. This was one of the most controversial decisions to hit Disney's Hollywood Studios, formerly Disney MGM Studios, since the announcement of the closure of the Rivers of America in order to make way for a Cars attraction. Now it seems that Disney has finally admitted when they're going to be shutting down Muppet Vision 3D. And you need to know when the last day to meet the Muppets is. Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and here with me is a Muppet in human form, Mr. VashSky. Vash, are you a man or are you a Muppet?
Ooh, man or Muppet? Wasn't that a song in the 2011 movie?
Yeah, it was. It was. If you are a Muppet, you're a Muppet of a man. But that being said, we need to talk about those Muppets over there at Disney. And I mean Muppet in the British sense of the word. Disney has set the final date for Muppet Vision 3D, sealing the fate of Jim Henson's legacy once and for all. Hey, Vash, why are we saying that this seals the fate of Jim Henson's legacy? Not just the Muppets in general here.
Well, because it was Jim Henson's last real project, especially involving the Muppets themselves. And it was supposed to be the beginning of a joint venture between the Muppets founder, that being Jim Henson, and Disney going forward. So this has a huge historical context for not just fans of Disney, but also fans of the Muppets themselves.
I totally agree. And this is probably the progenitor for Disney buying Lucasfilm, Disney buying Marvel Studios, Pixar, things like that here. So just want to set that here. And this article is by Marvin Montanaro, who is obviously a person who's very influenced by Jim Henson's work. There he is, Kermit the Frog. The unthinkable has finally happened. Disney has announced the closing date of Muppet Vision 3D at Disney's Hollywood Studios, the last project Jim Henson worked on before his untimely death in 1990. The attraction, beloved by fans and celebrated for its charm and creativity, will officially shut its doors on June 7th, 2025, to make way for a Monsters, Inc. themed land. Here it is from Scott Guston. Mama Melrose's Ristorante Italiano will serve its last guests on May 10th, and Muppet Vision 3D and Pizza Rizzo will have their last day of operations on June 7th as Disney starts work on the Monsters, Inc. thing land at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Vash, why are they doing this? I mean, I know why they're doing this. Actually, I don't know why they're doing this because, well, we'll get into that for a moment. But why are they doing this specifically, Vash?
Well, unfortunately, it is because they are installing a Monsters Incorporated land here, which, Jonas, I guess we can get into it just a little bit here. The reason to retheme this whole area, I don't know, like in the wider context of, I don't know, somebody from like a bean counter's perspective in Burbank, for example, it's like, okay, well, we have a Monsters Inc. IP, and we also have a Muppets IP, right? Monsters Inc. probably larger than the Muppets, at least in the current context and merchandising and all of that. So we should probably switch focus. It's like, okay, I mean, I guess, there you go. This is what you have to do. But look at the implementation of what they're actually doing. They're not actually getting rid of the Muppets Theater. The Muppets Theater will remain. They're retheming the outside of it in order to make it appropriate with this Monsters Inc. land. Okay, fine, whatever. But supposedly the interior, while it will be changed out, doesn't need to be. That's the thing about this whole thing. And here's the other thing about this. The fact that this is leaving May 10th, only a couple of weeks before Epic Universe opens, you're going to have a lot of people coming down to Orlando in order to see the new sites that Epic Universe provides. So they're probably going to, maybe if they're in the area, maybe make their way to Walt Disney World. Now you are leaving one less reason to visit Disney's Hollywood Studios in a park that requires all the attractions it can possibly get its hands on. This just makes no sense to me.
Right. I totally agree with you. And I'm going to zoom in here so that everybody knows right there. This is not an attraction that they have said anything about what's going into this space. I don't think they know what's going into this space. I think there's some generic, we'll put in a Monsters Inc. show here. Maybe they'll relocate the laugh floor, that doesn't belong in Tomorrowland. Maybe they'll put that over there into a place where the Muppets makes just as much sense in Monsters Inc. land as Monsters Inc. makes sense in Tomorrowland, except that people actually want to go see Muppet Vision 3D. I get it. Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor has an audience. There is an interactive element. They did a good job with it. But between the two, my priority is the Muppets here. This is a thing I've ranted out about many times on this channel. Disney likes to say that they are storytellers and that they have everyone's attention and everyone's imagination. There is no and if the Muppets are a dead IP to the company to the point where they're going to be squashing this over here and replacing Aerosmith's Rock and Roller Coaster with an Electric Mayhem ride, which, okay, whatever. I have no interest in that. But in the side characters of side characters in the Muppets getting their own ride, this right here was a great attraction. It was always good. It was always funny. And you were replacing it with Monsters Inc. show TBD. This is not fill me with hope for the future of the Walt Disney Company here. I see no reason for them to get rid of this ride. I see more reason for them to pay someone who is familiar with the Muppets to make a Muppet movie and put that into theaters. That would cost less money than whatever they're going to be doing here for this ride.
That's actually a good point. I was just looking at the permit application process for the maintenance facility for the red car trolley over there at Disney California Adventure that they're going to be removing in order to set up the expansion Adventures campus and all that. Apparently, it was like $9 million just for the removal of a building. So I think you're exactly right. This is going to cost way less than a Muppets movie, that's for sure, which could have re-energized the franchise. When you're looking at something like this, again, my comments were from a bean counter's perspective, just raw numbers, spreadsheets, because that's what they're looking at, right? From a historical perspective and even a thematic perspective, this makes absolutely no sense to do this. It makes absolutely no sense. Look, if you want to retheme the area to Monsters, Inc. in order to make your coaster fit, fine, I guess, whatever. But to get rid of the Muppets inside a theater, that's going to remain after this whole process is done. And by the way, the Monsters, Inc. coaster, I don't think has officially broken ground. Or if it is, it's in the very preliminary stages. What that means is that coaster is probably going to be, 3-4 years away? Why are you getting rid of Muppet Vision 3D now?
Yeah,
go ahead.
It is down the street. The Muppet Vision Theater is at the start of this land, and way down there is the Monsters, Inc. roller coaster. I don't think there's anything to do with that Monsters, Inc. roller coaster in Muppet Vision here, other than the fact that they want to have a themed land and say that themed land is immersive. One of the most overused terms in the theme park space these days. Immersive is not something that people actually care about. They want good rides. They want immersion once you're in the ride.
Yes, absolutely. I think And Disney has to get back to themed lands. That's a whole other discussion right there. But themed lands are far better than maybe themed experiences in which, it's a single IP focus. Because, with a single IP, you have very limited expansion options or retooling and so forth. With a themed land, well, now opportunities, sky's the limit on all of that. But here's the thing, Jonas. It's going to be 3 to 4 years before this coaster opens. We know this because it took 6 years to open Tron. Okay, it's going to take that long. Keep the Muppets in place. And then when you get close to the coaster's actually opening date, it's like, okay, now we send off for the Muppets. This could have been the last summer that Muppets actually is there. Why are you removing that, especially right before Epic Universe opens? Why not provide people one last summer to enjoy the Muppets while they're in town for Epic Universe? And maybe, hey, you know what? Disney lean into nostalgia while Epic Universe is open. Obviously, Epic Universe is going to have new attractions and so forth and all the new stuff that, you couldn't provide yourselves. Okay, fine. But lean into what you can or what you do have to separate yourself from Universal, which is the experiences that people have grown to know and love and the things that they want to pass down to their kids.
I totally agree. So there are a couple of things I want to note here, and you should all go read this article by Marvin Montanaro. Some items that are rumored about this, and I believe these rumors, but they are rumors, so take this with a grain of salt. The other place that this might have gone was the animation courtyard, which that spares, by the way, if you're tracking what would have gone into that space and what would have been removed in order to make room for this Monsters, Inc. attraction. Oh, plus some shops, guys. They're going to have shops too, and a stage show. First of all, you have a theater there, the Little Mermaid Theater. I get it. Little Mermaid is popular. The animation courtyard hosts a bunch of meet and greets for Disney Junior characters. There was a Disney Junior dance show that I don't know if that's still there. And there is, of course, the Star Wars launch bay. The actual reason, and this is, again, the rumor here, that I think that this area was chosen as opposed to the other area is because there's a bunch of offices of executives that are right behind the Star Wars launch bay. And those offices will not have to move. Vash, would that be a good reason to tear down Muppet Vision 3D?
No. I mean, it's okay. Look, and apparently these offices might be reused in some capacity for the Imagineers who actually set up shop here. We've heard conflicting reports on this, but the fact remains is that these offices are I guess, highly prized possessions by the Walt Disney Company, to the point where we're going to get rid of the Muppets, upset fans even more, because we were just coming off of the Rivers of America news when this all dropped. That's the other thing about this. We're going to upset them more, and then we're going to, retheme this entire area to Monsters, Inc., which, I mean, when did Monsters University come out?
It was, I think it was in the mid 2000s, like the first decade of this century here. Monsters, Inc., and then, of course, Monsters University. I'm also going to point out that Monsters at Work is on Disney Plus. I don't think that really moved the needle for Disney Plus very much either. So
right.
I think Muppet Babies, there was also a Disney Junior version of Muppet Babies. Maybe that didn't do a very good job of reigniting the brand, but also that Muppet Baby series won a GLAAD award for representation of gay and lesbian themes in a preschool show, because they had Gonzo dress in a dress and try to get everyone else to accept that he just feels happier in a dress. So I'm going to say that maybe some of Disney's current problems have landed on the Muppets. Here's the last thing that I want to bring up is Splash Mountain. When Splash Mountain closed at Walt Disney World, which that was the first one to shut down between the Magic Kingdom version and the Disneyland version, there were massive lines because everyone knew what date it was going to close. At least they've got the guts to actually tell people when Muppet Vision 3D is going to shut down this time. And that's about the only thing that I can say that's positive in this space. There's no reason for them to get rid of Muppet Vision 3D. They've just updated the ride. They've just plussed the ride. This is the part where someone in the comments goes, well, actually, the people who do maintenance and upgrades are a completely different budget than the parks people who do tear outs of the ride. So that's why that happened. I get it. I know it doesn't make it any less stupid. All right. Well, I suppose that's enough ranting for now. Guys, go see Muppet Vision 3D before it closes for the last time on June 7th. Pick up some merch if they decide to actually open up the gift shop again. It was closed the last time I went, despite me specifically going for Muppet Vision merch. That being said, tell us your thoughts in the comment section down below. Hit the like button if you want to do that. And of course, if you haven't done it yet, consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.